All right. Is Netflix dying? I know everybody's going a little kooky. They're going a little cuckoo about Netflix lately because they said they're going to add advertisements. And a lot of people are like, I'm canceling my Netflix subscription. Now, listen, I looked into it. I personally couldn't find details, so I could be wrong. But what it sounds like they're going to do is what Hulu does, where they have multiple subscription services. So I don't care. Personally, I don't really care. I don't know why people are telling me that Netflix is dying. I still watch stuff on Netflix. I enjoy Netflix. Their introduction of, I'm assuming they're going to still have a paid subscription service just like Hulu does to not have to have you do advertisements. But like I said, Hulu has one, like I think that Hulu has a paid service for ads and a paid service without ads. So I feel like people are melting down over this for no reason. Okay, they're going crazy. They're going a little bit crazy. And especially you guys are like, oh my God, it's not worth it, guys. It's not worth it to pay $15 or whatever dollars. I don't even know how much it costs. Meanwhile, you guys share your account with like 20 other people. You guys are being an and Netflix has not cracked down on that. All right, Netflix is like, hey, we're going to add a different service and there might cost you a little more to do the non-ad version. Pay a couple bucks. Not a big deal. Meanwhile, you can share your account with like 40 people, and you guys are bitching about it. I feel like, and they said they might. They're testing the waters of the idea. I feel like people are melting down. $20 a month, $20 a month to have it shared by a bunch of people. Who gives a shit? That's great. So I like Netflix shows. They have a lot of good like shit on there. I watch a lot of Korean shows on there. I think they're great. Kim's Convenience and other Korean stuff. I've been watching Frontier with Jason Momoa. The show's really good. Jason Momoa is not that great in it. Anyway, let's see what Mr. Critical has to say about this.
Call me AOL because I'm delivering news that I'm sure you already know. Netflix is struggling. I'm sure you've seen the numbers. Year to date, their stock is down over 60%. But more specifically, over the last week, they've really fallen off a cliff, just got fucking kicked.
I wonder why their stock is down. I truly wonder why. Because, I mean, I personally haven't experienced anything negative with Netflix. So I wonder what it is. It must just be the introduction of different paid services. And Netflix is kind of like your bargain service. And people are probably just losing interest.
Right down that giant well.
They also lost The Office. That probably killed them.
300. They went down 37% in a week. So a lot of people are asking the question, is Netflix dying? And that stock graph is looking like a heartbeat.
Did they lose that 37% when they announced potentially removing ads?
Monitor about the flat line. It's not looking good. That shit's looking like Blockbuster.
Oh, they lost a bunch of subscriptions after they announced that. People are so sensitive.
Back in the day.
Because like I saw some people like on Twitter, they're like, I'm canceling my... It's like, dude, why? Like, it's not that big of a deal. Why are you guys going crazy over like... over probably paying an extra $1, you know?
And a lot of people are wondering, well, what could be the cause for this incredible decline so rapidly? And naturally, everyone's turning to me to answer these questions, since I'm the preeminent expert on all things shitty movie and TV show related. I have a genuine passion for horrible media, whether that be horrible games.
Oh, the stuff was announced after they lost their subs?
Movies, music, shows, whatever. I just love watching and consuming the worst of the worst. Things that turn other people's stomachs, make them puke, cry, and question the existence of God. I get a big smile on my face and a wet spot in my trousers. I just really enjoy it. So when people saw this happening to Netflix, they were wondering my opinion on it. Is it because all the terrible shows and movies Netflix keeps funding? And in my expert opinion, and it pains me to do this, I'm going to have to diagnose Netflix with shitty content disease. But it doesn't mean it's terminal yet.
Well, I mean, YouTube has that too, right?
Netflix has been funding basically...
Just look at this guy named Papa God.
anything made by someone with a pulse. And even that seems to be spotty. It feels like they're funding scripts written by fucking AI. They have a catalog of actual dog shit shovelware. Like, you remember DOSBox ROMs back in the early internet where it was just actual 30-second games that...
So is that the biggest problem? They're losing subs because there's just like, there's a ton of content, but like it's not all good content? That makes sense.
They were just being uploaded to the ROM sites that were almost unplayable. That's Netflix right now. They're just this giant cum dumpster of almost unwatchable movies and shows, and it's things nobody is asking for, but they're putting a lot of money into making them for some reason. Like, they'll drop like 50 new originals on like a single weekend, be like, hey, new on Netflix presents The Poop That Took a Pee. And then they'll be scratching their heads like, oh, why is no one watching that one? We put a lot of money into that production. That's so weird. Why is no one watching this?
Interesting.
It just shows that no one would ever even think to watch that Netflix is funding.
Well, I don't think that's an issue. It's obviously the issue of the quality when you do watch it. I mean, if they're killing the reputation of Netflix originals, you're killing your entire thing. You know what's interesting though? I started watching some TV. I think it's called Tubi TV. I don't really remember. It's just nice to watch TV again. It's like a weird psychological thing where when you don't have as much options, you're happier with your choice. I know that sounds weird, but it's like turn TV on. I got like, hey, you got like 30 things on. What do you want to watch? Well, I want to watch a cartoon. All right, you have two choices. It's like, well, I guess I'm going to watch that. I guess that's what I'm going to do. Because most of the time, what are you doing when you watch TV? This is what I'm doing. That's pretty much all I do when I watch TV at this point. I just play balloons. So like you're really just looking for background noise a lot of the time. So it's true.
Now I want to make it clear, I don't think bad content is solely responsible for the decline of Netflix right now in terms of their stock price and all of that. I definitely think it contributes because as things get more expensive, because things are absolutely getting more expensive in our world, the first thing that people are going to cut is a service like Netflix. You know, Netflix is just a luxury to have, and it's an expensive one. It's $25 a month. So as the cost of...
Really? Is Netflix $25 a month? Holy shit. Is it really that much? No, the basic is $10 a month. Where do you get 25 from? I'm just looking at the plans and pricing. It's like $10 for the basic. 15 for HD and 2 people on it. Yeah, is it 25? It's like 20 at most for premium. I feel like it's not that many.
living goes up, people aren't going to be able to justify subscribing to Netflix anymore when they're not even putting out content that they want to watch in the first place. And especially with so much competition right now, Hulu, HBO Max is kind of killing it.
Yeah, true. I just got HBO Max so I could watch Euphoria with my wife. Actually pretty good. Surprisingly good.
Even Crunchyroll / Funimation to a certain degree, since anime is so big on streaming, and Netflix is doing a horrible job with their anime catalog with like JoJo's Part 6. God rest its soul. I know everyone's upset about that. Netflix cannot get anything right. Fucking JoJo's Part 6 has been divided up into like part releases where they released 12 episodes a few months back, and they still haven't released the next set of episodes for some inexplicable fucking reason. And they had the audacity to hype up, hey, good news, JoJo's Part 6 Part 2 might come out in 2022. Wee-haw! Getting sidetracked, but competition, you know, Crunchyroll, Funimation, Disney Plus kind of slapping them around right now since they took all of like the Marvel shows and everything, which people are just going to idly binge forever on that service.
True. I mean, I have all of them. I have Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, and Euphoria, HBO Max. I think I just have them. I don't care. Yeah.
So the thing is, Netflix just has a lot to compete with now, and
and I have YouTube Prime.
Content they keep funding isn't shit that people want to watch. So they're
but no anime because I'm an adult.
Originals don't keep them there, and Netflix has really been bled dry when it comes to shows that people love, like beloved classics. All of those have gone to other streaming platforms, so Netflix is left with just like the worst of the worst. So I definitely think that does contribute, you know, just not having any of those classic shows anymore for people to just want to watch on Netflix.
You know what Netflix should seriously do? I'm not even kidding. You want to know what'll, like, this will revive, I'm not even joking. They should create a Netflix TV. There's no other TV service. Like, all they need to do is implement a television-like service on Netflix that just plays. Like, you have like 10 channels. I don't know. You have your drama channel. You have your Asian channel. You have your comedy channel, and they just play something from the catalog on it. It's not bad advice. It's true. Because how many times do you go on Netflix and you just don't know what the fuck to watch? And then you'll do like you'll click the button and you'll click the button of like, oh, here's what you watch. And it just continuously shows you everything you've already fucking watched before. That's every single time. It's like, oh, you might be interested in this show you've watched already. Oh, well, I don't like to rewatch shows. I know a lot of people do. I don't. I think it's fucking stupid. Okay? Make channels. So instead, if I don't know what to watch, I'm just flipping through Netflix channel 1. Oh, I want a cartoon. Oh, this is a cartoon. I'll just turn it on and I'll kill some. I'm not kidding. I swear to fucking Christ. I swear to God, Netflix. I swear to Jesus Christ Almighty that will revitalize Netflix. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. That's all they need to implement, right? That's all they really need to implement. It's like channels. And boom. You know, maybe they could have like channels where they know stuff will work, like the comedy channel number 1. Maybe comedy channel number 2 is like some more obscure shit that might get you into it. That's what they need to do. Because I really do feel like people don't even know it. Most of you guys don't watch TV anymore. Most of you guys watch Netflix and Hulu and everything. So you're like, I know what I want to watch. Okay? But like, if you turn on the television, I went on vacation, I turned the television on, incredible experience of just being limited option. That experience is stupidly positive. Because like most of the time when you watch TV, you're not really watching for a show. Like I do that now. When I sit down to watch TV, bro, I'm sitting down to eat or kill something time in the background or clean my house or go on the treadmill or do something, right? Just put on a fucking, just boom. Just put on Netflix TV. Do some channels with that. That's all you got to do. Okay? And when Netflix becomes the top streaming service again, you better fucking shout me out, bitch. Okay? This is $1 million idea. You better at least give me half of that. Seriously, it's a good idea.
Have all gone elsewhere, while also not providing any new originals, and then still increasing the monthly subscription price is just a recipe for disaster. They've been increasing the price, but decreasing the quality of content on the service. It's just really ass backwards right now. I just think they're not really sure what to fund, so they just fund everything anyway, even if it's like a student project by a 9-year-old or some shit like that, and then hope that one of them sticks. So they'll get the occasional banger like Squid Game or Arcane, but for every Squid Game and Arcane, there were 1,000 Bruise Brothers and other shows that no one has ever heard of. So yeah, the quality of content hasn't been amazing, and that's surely contributed to a lot of people deciding like, I can't really justify paying $20 a month for Netflix anymore, I'll just cancel it and stick with one of the other services. I do think that's a contributing factor. And another thing I want to just say, and I don't know how much of an effect
I have Amazon Prime too, and I have watched The Boys.
This has, but I really feel like this whole binge model that Netflix is still just living and dying on, which is where they dump an entire season of a show all at once, is just so fucking dumb. The binge model was cool in the early days where it's like, wow, I get to watch my favorite show that I remember when I was a kid all at once. I don't have to like wait week by week. Or even like a new show, like, wow, all of it's out all at once. But now the novelty I think is completely worn off. I much prefer a weekly release of a show. And on Netflix, Arcane proved it could work. It's so much more fun and engaging to watch a show week by week because then everyone's at the exact same pace. You get to discuss it with friends, family, even online.
Who cares? I don't have any friends. I mean, that's interesting. I wonder if that, I don't know if that has any like level of contribution. I personally like to just binge shows when I watch them.
And because everyone is at the exact same pace, so you can talk about what might happen next, come up with fan theories and speculate, and it's just a lot more fun.
Yeah, I'd rather just watch the whole fucking show. You know what I mean? I'd rather just watch the whole show. I don't really enjoy the culture around, because like when you do a delayed release, you're doing it to get somebody to tune in. So it's like, hey guys, we're going to release this 10-episode thing over 10 weeks. So now you have to have new Netflix for 2.5 weeks, which is fine. But now it feels like you're just trying to get me to maintain a service I don't, you know what I mean? Like, I guess I got to keep, unless, you know, it just feels like you're just like trying to bleed me dry a little bit.
To engage with the content that way, as opposed to the binge model where they drop all 12 episodes all at once, and then you'll have some people call out work the next day in order to finish it all in one night, and then you can never really talk about it with anyone because everyone's at different places in the content. Example, Stranger Things Season 3. Third season of Stranger Things was very good, but they dropped all the episodes all at once.
I didn't really like it. I liked the first. The second season lost me a little bit. Third one, I wasn't bad, but I wasn't like a huge fan.
So some people finished it in one day, some people in 1 week. So everyone was at different places in the show, and no one ever really talked about it. When Stranger Things dropped, there was a lot of hype, and then within like 2, maybe 3 days, no one was talking about Stranger Things Season 3. It just faded from everyone's memory. Whereas something like Arcane, which was on Netflix, people were talking about the entire run. Every single episode, every drop was trending on Twitter with people talking about it. It just gets people...
Maybe that show is just better than Stranger Things. Possibly. You know what I mean? Like, maybe this Arcane show was just really good regardless, and Stranger Things Season 3 just felt like a money grab, you know what I mean?
People more invested in it.
I've never watched Arcane, but I'm just saying this. There's possibly more than one reason for this.
You're able to discuss it with other people. It just makes it more fun. I just think that whole binge model is really counterintuitive to engagement, as well as keeping people on Netflix. I think it's really fucking stupid, to be honest. Like, if you're
maybe the spoiler thing is true. Maybe the spoiler thing, like you're less likely to get hit with spoilers because then it's one of those things where like if you go on social media, you could very easily find something like you're obviously everything's connected. So you like literally I could say I'm hungry for a candy bar and I'll open my phone and I go on like Instagram and all of a sudden there's a fucking Snickers commercial. You know what I mean? So it's probably a lot easier for people who lag behind on watching shows in like a binge format for them to potentially get spoilers, hit them and ruin the show for them. So that would be something that would contribute to like in a positive way to what he's talking about. But I don't know. I just generally disagree. There's going to be pros and cons for both.
You're bleeding out. So you take your best shows and release them all at once. People finish them in one day, and then what's their incentive to stay on there? They'll have to wait another 6 months when you accidentally find another good show to fund. You know, like, why would they continue to pay for it that long? Whereas when it comes to
I mean, from a business model perspective, he's probably right. You know?
Weekly release, Netflix does get lucky. They have another huge show like Squid Game, and they release it week by week. And then they get some people to stay longer because they're invested in that show. Like, it all just makes more sense to just do weekly releases, even just from a business standpoint.
You know what you're better off doing? You know what I think is a good medium? Do let's say you have like 12 episodes of a show, do monthly releases. So instead of like everything at once or one episode a week, do 4 episodes at the beginning of every month. So it's like, oh, you get to binge watch 4 episodes. Like in January, February, we release another 4. March, we release another 4. This way, it gives you the best of both worlds. Because like I like binging, even if I can't binge the whole thing. I like binging. So I feel like if I could still binge 4 and then I had to take a break, but then when I came back I got to binge 4, that would be awesome. That would be a lot better.
But yes, I do agree that the quality of the Netflix content hasn't been great. They've been pumping out a lot of net shits recently, and a lot of people are probably just not bothering to re-up a subscription. But Netflix is cracking down in what I believe to be the wrong area. They're just blaming everyone for password sharing, which is a legitimate problem from a business standpoint. Don't get me wrong. A lot of people share passwords. I myself am getting Netflix from Tiana's account. You know, everyone shares.
Bro, you're going to jail. You're going to jail.
There's the passwords to their Netflix. So there is a lot of unpaying Netflix viewers. So that is a lot of money left on the table for them.
You're going to jail.
But it's such a tricky problem for them to navigate because if you really come down with an iron fist, just flop your meat on the table and like villainize anyone that's ever shared a password.
Well, I think every streaming service is kind of dealing with that, and it's like one of those things where, like, unfortunately, there's just going to be, we'll say it's within the realm of like pirating almost, like in video games too, and you're just going to have to deal with that issue, and like it's just going to exist, and that's probably not the primary issue. You know, I mean, it's an issue, but it's like not their primary issue.
It's going to make it a headache to continue using the platform, so most people just won't even bother. And since there's so,
you know, what's going to happen. HBO is going to buy Netflix. Netflix isn't going to implement my amazing idea of Netflix TV. And then HBO is just going to buy Netflix and they're going to make it a tack-on service for like $5 a month. And then what they're going to do is they're going to prune it. Not even they're going to prune it. They're going to put it in maintenance mode. Like they do like every MMO that gets bought by some bullshit fucking like the company where they like basically what Blizzard did to WoW for a long time, where they just like give you the bare minimum to keep it in maintenance mode. And that's what's going to happen. HBO is going to buy it. I guarantee you HBO is just going to buy Netflix if they don't get their shit together. It's going to be like $5 a month like add on to Netflix to HBO.
So many alternatives, they'll just go somewhere else. So them cracking down on password sharing is going to be a really tight rope to walk. I know they've tossed around the idea of doing like a really cheap Netflix subscription.
Hey, thanks for the raid, brother.
That has ads with it for people that don't want.
What is that name? Scar.NYB.
To pay the full $20 but still want to watch the content. They could do a cheap alternative, but getting some ads there. Maybe that's a decent solution. I don't really know. It's not like an unheard of one. I know other services offer that. I just don't know how successful they are in that area. But again, cracking down on password sharing, like throw these people in the slammer. They shared their password with too many people. I want them fucking arrested. And like making it really like a cutthroat policy is only going to serve to damage Netflix further. So they have to really come up with like a consumer-friendly option to get people who are sharing passwords to instead pay a little bit to continue watching the content. And I don't know how the fuck they're going to pull off that balancing act. But I do think perhaps the best solution for hemorrhaging so many subscribers is just by offering better content. This is quite literally like that.
What they could do is hypnotize people into staying on the service. That's all you gotta do. Remember Futurama, the Hypnotoad.
Twitter meme of make better content or I'm unsubscribing.
NFT should drop, Netflix should drop NFTs, sure.
That is actually happening to Netflix right now. The price of everything in the world is getting more expensive. Netflix is expensive, and most people aren't going to want to spend $20 a month for shit where they might get one good show twice a year. That's just not worth the cost.
True.
So the best thing they can do is just improve with what they're putting on the platform. And another thing that not a lot of people have mentioned is Netflix's numbers were heavily inflated because of COVID. When COVID hit, everyone went to subscribing to streaming platforms because
that's honestly how a lot of people blew up on TikTok, like myself included. It's just like there are tons of people watching TikTok, so there's a higher chance of your shitty content being pumped into the For You page in the algorithm.
Was locked at home watching shows and movies and shit like that. Now that everyone's getting back into like a normal routine in the real world, all those people are starting to cancel these subscriptions. So the numbers just got like really inflated. So maybe this is just equalizing and it's totally normal. Can't really say for sure, but what I can say for sure is Netflix has so much garbage on it that no one really wants to watch, while only ever providing a couple of good shows a quarter.
Well, you know, that's the problem, though, is that like a lot of these companies look at their stocks, like they'll look at their quarterlies as success, which is not really necessarily true. So what they do is they try to bump up the numbers every quarter, but they don't worry about longevity. So Netflix probably was like, yeah, let's release a ton of fucking shows because it'll be like, oh, this will look good for us. It'll increase our stocks, which makes sense. But then in the long run, it's like, okay, your quality is diminishing and the longevity of this is not there. This is something that Blizzard used to do. They would kill projects. They would kill a project if they didn't like it, and the name was incredible. You would buy anything. And then what happened? They started bleeding their shit and abusing their standing, and all of a sudden their reputation is dead. You know, reputation is something for whatever reason that companies just don't give a fuck about anymore. It's insane.
So that, I think, is a big problem for them, and the competition's getting fierce. So I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because it's an interesting topic, I think. I always find it very fascinating when there's a company that's...
Heroes of the Storm. Heroes of the Storm is a really good MOBA. It's not competitive. It's a really good MOBA, though. But they just fucking jerking it off. It's crazy.
Too big to fail, starting to fail. I don't think Netflix is in any danger of closing its doors anytime soon. They still have...
Yeah, I'll buy Netflix. Put me on the front of Netflix. Pop a gut.
Like 200...
Fat Gump.
120 million active subscribers. So they are still very much in the game. It's just a matter of them having a bit of a stumble here. And by a bit of a stumble, I mean they're fucking spiraling down a dirty toilet. 65% year-to-date loss in the stock is kind of...
Net gut.
Rough. But they're still fine overall. I don't think they're in any danger of dying anytime soon. So I just want to talk about it. That's about it. So...
All right, cool. Thank you so much for watching, guys, and another special shout out to all my Patreon and Twitch subs. If you'd like to support this channel further than you already have by just watching the video alone, go down to the links below where you can sub on my Patreon, which will allow you to get your name on this beautiful black wall. Or you can go to the Twitch page and you can actually use a free Amazon Prime sub, if you have Amazon Prime, to subscribe. Thank you very much, guys. Take care.